Hmm.
smiledog.jpg. Now, I'm far from the first person to have ever talked about this, but Smiledog is a classic. It's super nostalgic for me. I remember reading the story back in the day, and I think the search for source images is fascinating. For those who aren't familiar, it all began on January 7th, 2009, when an anonymous person shared an eerie post on the 4chan Paranoia board. The post was a simple question that read, "Hello, can anyone here tell me about something called smile.dog or smile.jpg?" A friend of mine said something about it once and mentioned the
I
story.
will wait for a minute.
This anonymous 4chan post is often seen as the birth of the smile.dog story. The 4chan thread following the initial post mentioned an amateur writer known only by his initials, JML. The real name of this amateur writer was never shared in the original 4chan post, but this person had apparently uncovered something disturbing while doing some research into an image known as smile.jpg for his early college assignments. JML's interest in the smile.jpg case started in 2005 when he heard about web-based phenomena in 10th grade. Several rumors and posts online claim that the smile.jpg image showed a paranormal entity called smile.dog.
Alright,
The
so,
victims who had allegedly seen the image all described it as a dog-like creature that looked similar to a smiling husky, illuminated by the camera's flash.
we'll
This
make this
creature
as
had human-looking teeth, and there was a beckoning hand in the image's background, emerging from the
quick as I
darkness.
can.
The victims
What was
also
it?
claimed that viewing Smile.jpg was said to cause acute anxiety and the onset of temporal lobe epilepsy. The image was widely shared in the 90s through chain emails. The subject line
You're going
read,
to put your name here.
"Smile, God loves you." JML's research into the Smile Dog case led him to the profile of a woman named Mary
Jeez, got the
Reed.
cough.
Mary claims that she first came in contact with Smile.jpg after she clicked on a hyperlink that was posted on a bulletin board system in 1992. Mary was the only one out of 400 people who also clicked the hyperlink who spoke openly about her experience with Smile.jpg. After reaching out to Mary's husband, Terrence, she agreed to let JMO interview
Alright,
her
so,
during the summer of
I wanted to
2007.
talk about the.
Their
It
initial
is
engagement
a
never
small
took
update,
place,
that's all.
as when
I
JMO
wanted to
arrived
talk
at her
about
apartment
my
with Mary,
motivation a bit.
she
It's
changed
not
her
supposed to be
bonnet
anything bad.
and
It's
locked
more
herself in
so,
her bedroom,
me talking
crying.
about my motivation and
Both JML and Terrence hear Mary through the door,
my
muttering gibberish about certain
um
nightmares she'd been having, and she refused to come out of her room and talk to him.
my
Mary's
motivation.
husband, Terrence,
Wait, I said that I
apologized
think
for her strange
my
behavior
motivation
before
and
JML
my
left the couple's home.
plans
He didn't hear from
for
Mary
my
until March
accounts on YouTube.
2008, when she sent him an email.
So to put it frankly, I'm gonna try and
Mary started the email by apologizing for the way she acted.
thank you,
She then revealed everything
Num.
to JML,
So
telling him how she'd been
there's no need to
unable
do
to
that.
cope
However,
with
thank you.
2 years
So
by
basically,
Smile.dog ever since she clicked the hyperlink.
I
She
think I
explained how both
might
Smile.dog and the beckoning hand appeared in her dreams
I
every
might try to
single
be more
night
active on
and into
one
nightmares.
of my other accounts
Smile.dog
for a while.
talked to
I'm
her.
not saying
Mary went on to tell
permanently. I'm
JML
saying
how
for a while
Smile.dog isn't really a dog, despite its name.
because I think
She
some
was
of this
genuinely
burnout
certain
came from how
that
stagnant my
Smile.dog
account has been.
is.
And it's not.
About halfway
Whenever I
through the
say
email,
this, I
Mary
do not
described how
mean
Smile.dog urged her to, quote, spread the
I do not
word,
mean that I expect my account to
telling her
be,
it was the only way she could
blowing
prevent
up
the demonic
24/7. Do
power.
not expect that. That's not what I
Mary then
expect
said
at
how
all.
she knew Smile.dog wanted her to share the image with
Um,
someone else, because
I'm
she had seen
saying
a
that it has been
monster
stagnant
in the return efforts
in
to
one
contain
place for a while,
Smile.dog JPEG.
and I
Towards the
barely
end of the
found the
email,
motivation
Mary
to
talks about how she
continue
thought about giving the initiative
creating. And
coworker
some of that is on
a
me.
hug
I will admit that some of that is on
with
me.
the idea of
I have not
revealing
really
her.
posted any
Mary
video
then
related
reveals
content
how
for a
traumatic the
while.
whole ordeal had been,
And
as if this
who else is to
was
blame but
the
me
worst.
for that? Who
She
else is to
began
blame
complaining about how she planned on giving JML the
for that but
podcast
me?
when he came for the interview, but changed her mind the last second
So
because she was ashamed and couldn't bear the thought
it feels that because my account is like this, it kind of seems to me that you know I barely found a reason to continue creating, if you know what I mean. I did live streams to fill in the gaps. However, people started, and I'm not blaming this on either of you. Do not worry. I do not blame. I do not play the blame game. I'm not blaming this on either of you. I'm saying that due to people joining my streams less and less until it becomes barely active, it does not really get me motivated to do anything. The same thing with here's the thing. The amount of people on the stream right now, because it is a drawing stream, I made a drawing stream because I had a feeling that that's what people may mostly, come to this account for, a drawing stream, because um my account is centered around art, and I would assume that I have a lot of people who have a knack for art joining. Who have a knack for art joining. And due to that, due to that, I was struggling a bit whenever it came to other streams, such as gaming streams and or I react to stuff, you know. And again, I'm not saying it's their fault. I'm not saying that at all. And here's where the conflict comes, because I do not care about views. That's the thing. I never cared about views. And before you say anything about how that conflicts to what I'm talking about, I did say that there was a conflict. While I do not care about views, at the same time, views are what get my account, on stable ground, and more people could find them. Here's the thing. I do not expect millions upon millions of views on my videos. I'm at least expecting about 200 to 400 views on a normal video, not on a live stream. I mean on a normal video, because at least then it would have some pretty decent reach. Whenever it comes to live streams, I'm alright with about, because I feel kind of nervous around live chat rooms. So for me, whenever it comes down to live streams, I am fairly comfortable with about 11 to 20 people joining. That's what I'm mostly comfortable with. Is when I'm is when I'm attuned to. However, if I see myself underperforming, regardless of the other content I do instead of drawing, it makes me feel demotivated to do anything at all. And I'm saying this right now because I feel like I've been pretty neutral about it for a while. Hold on. I feel like I've been pretty neutral about it for a while and not really vocalized it. However, at the same time, I feel like the best way to get out your thoughts is to vocalize it. Otherwise, no change will happen. Otherwise, no change will happen. So, I'm not really saying that I'm trying to make people watch me. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that, due to recent activities such as that, I barely found the motivation to, upload. And I understand that, each time I say this, I'll be the first one to say this right now. I understand that each time I say, I'm stopping live streams here and or I'm losing motivation, and then people tell me to take a break. Here's the thing: I would take breaks if I would not, worry about if I would not worry about my account not gaining decent traction anymore. I call decent traction about 200 to 400 views, and that is about it. Um, if I did not have that to worry about, then if I did not have that to worry about, then I would take a good break. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I do take good breaks away from videos. I do. I know I do. I mean, there has been a good month away from me posting an actual video before, I started making stuff relevant to Fallen Hill again. Relevant to Fallen Hill again. And I feel like that is a good start in the right direction. That's a good step in the right direction. There's nothing wrong with that. We all take breaks differently, if you know what I mean. Hold on, are the comments dead right now? If people are saying something, I cannot. No, all right, never mind. Some people's breaks are doing nothing. All right. Yeah, some people's breaks are. And by the way, I asked that because YouTube does not. I asked that because I think I have a history of asking that. I asked that mostly because YouTube does like to turn off, you know, in order stop the comments from coming in every now and then. It's something like that. I'm not trying to force anybody to, you know, speak. I'm not forcing anybody to speak. It's a simple thing I'm trying to check on, you know. Aside from that, so yeah, due to recent, inactivity, my breaks usually last for a good month. My breaks usually last for a good month, and due to inactivity in certain streams that I do, as in the streams that are, as in streams that are. Oh, I'm trying to think. As in streams that are I'm trying to think. Streams that are gameplays or something. Um, streams that are gameplays and or streams that are reaction videos, basically. To be honest, I understand why they do not gain that much traction. I understand because it's not what people originally came here for. Oh, hold on, let me turn that off. I kind of tuned it out. That was my fan. I tuned it out. I apologize. That was my fan. If anybody heard that and if it became a problem, that was my fan. So no, I turned it off for a little bit. So so yeah, for the reaction streams, I completely understand why. Finally, an artist. Oh. um, for the people who really only stayed for the art streams, I do not.
as people often
I do
wonder
not,
where this
blame
image
you. I do not
might
blame
come
you at
from.
all
But the idea
because
that someone created a Polaroid image was
comic
beyond just
illustration.
fiction.
It's not a
But
comic
after thousands
illustration.
of research, no one
It
has a clear
is a
explanation for
standalone
its
art piece.
origins.
So
But over the years, there have been several
yes, I completely
skeptical
understand why
theories
people do not
regarding the Polaroid's origins.
um
One of the
join
strongest
the
cases
streams for reaction
points to the
streams.
letters PO,
It, it,
which can be seen in the image, are the
mm,
initials of the artist who made
I
the
completely
image.
understand why people do
And
not
researchers
really
from
follow
some
me
Photoshop
for
images use
reaction
PO
streams.
initials and compare them to active artists in 2009, but nothing concrete came up. I changed
However, at
focus
the same
after an
time,
honest guy said PO means
whenever I do,
paranormal option. The name
whenever I do,
paranormal option sounded oddly
how do I
similar
say?
to infamous paranormal
Whenever
films
I
Paranormal
do
Alice and
gameplay
Unsolved Mysteries
streams,
in the late 2000s.
that becomes
Back then,
really
the subreddit
inactive.
itself appeared in those niche forums,
That becomes
challenging
really
authority.
inactive.
I tried pasting
Honestly,
the Polaroid
thumbnails.
for the
No, no,
story
this is a
again,
standalone art piece.
but this was another
Um,
dead end.
it becomes they become really
I also
inactive,
came across a couple of Redditors over the
and
course of my
I
search
barely
who claimed to have
found
found the original
and I
Polaroid.
barely,
Certain folks
found
shared
the
two r
need to
slash
keep
creepypasta
doing them.
on May 17th,
Mhm.
2022 by Amel Hieronymus with a description that read, "Did I accidentally find the image you used for Smile.jpg?" Attached to his post was an image comparing the Polaroid variants with another grainy image
I can
on a generic
understand why people do
SVG.
not
I already knew this is one of the hundreds of false claims on Reddit, but I still looked
I
into
can
the
understand why
image.
people do not
Just as I
you
expected,
know
I didn't find anything
I'm trying to
remotely
think.
substantial. I later uncovered another Reddit
I can
post
understand why
shared on
people do not
December 23rd,
join the
2024
gameplay
by
streams.
investigator number
That is not
3850.
exactly what, they
This individual claims to have seen the original
subscribe for
Polaroid
either,
first
which is all
and
right.
even has a link
It is
to the
completely all
original
right.
Polaroid, which led
Um,
me to this image. I knew these
and by the
claims
way, I'm
were
not,
also speculative at
saying
best,
all this
but after
to
doing a little
say
digging, I
I'm
traced
changing
this
my
photo's
routine or
original image to
something.
a 2017 post on a blog
I'm not
called
really
Life
saying
After
something
the
like that.
SSDs.
Um,
This was just another false claim.
is that
There was no history of the image before 2017.
as a whole, I find it hard
To find the Polaroid
to
image,
do
I
these
tried a few
streams at
approaches,
all
revisiting the original January
when
2020 4chan thread and
whenever I
quickly
do a
sifting the
different
comments.
stream and
I
people
found
are not
three
really that
consistent
interested
ones. The
in
first
the
thing I
other
noticed
stuff
was the
that
differing
I
opinions
wanted
of
to
the
do
perception of the
that I want to
original
do.
Smile.jpg.
Especially whenever they say
They talked about how the red image freaked them out, while in other
especially
comments,
whenever they say
some of the pictures
you
seemed
know,
great.
greetings, I'll join.
It looks more like a pig than a dog to me. Good story,
Hey,
but
I'll join any
disappointing.
stream that you make, and then I say,
Even
all
though the
right, and
original
then
story
I do a
title
different stream that
and
is not
Smile
art,
Dog
and then
wasn't
nobody
really good
really
enough, a lot of
watches.
accounts
I
were
do get
excited
some
about
people
it
who watch, and
and want Smile
I
Dog
do
to
not
be
mind that as long as
recognized
there is
above.
a
So did
decent,
PNK and their
conversation
post
happening.
origins. Another Anon's comment seems to
However,
confirm this, as the
and
red
I have no
image was
problem with
shared
lurking.
from
I have no
Nigeria
problem with people
HIV
lurking because
website
I lurk in
used to want to fake it better
live
and
chats
spread it
as
around,
well.
considering the story. While no
However,
one
at the same
appears to take
time,
this comment directly to heart,
I think it mostly
many times
depends on the
as to
scenario
make it better,
where I'm
one of the
comfortable
several
with
Anons
lurking.
created the Polaroid
For
image.
instance,
This would
if
also
it
be
is
when
a
Red Both images are often used
if it is
together
a
in certain Smile Dog
big,
stories,
content
where the
creator
Polaroid image is referred to as
and they have a
the
more
original form
lively,
and the red
you know,
variant
um,
as its demon form.
chat,
Tweaking creepypastas and their accompanying
I would be
images was a common
lurking quite
practice
a
back
few,
then,
and I'll be saying,
as even though people didn't
kind of
endorse
less
fake,
because
many still tended
the
to feel
conversation is
comfortable.
pretty active.
I also came across many
I do not
comments from
think I really
Anons
need to
discussing
force
how
a
it never
conversation
affects the image,
contribution. People are
or changed
already,
the image
talking about
into a
stuff.
GIF to
All
make it
right,
more
I'm kind of
friendly.
all right with lurking.
What particular chain of messages piqued my
I'm kind of all
interest,
right with lurking,
as someone
and
suggested using a
yes,
version of the image without any
um,
user data and naming the file smile or smile.dog.jpg. These
um,
messages were followed by a response that read, quote, "Doing it right now." And a few minutes later, the image with
whenever
the
it
more
comes
lifeless
to
file size than the original red variant was posted.
whenever it comes to
The
small
image written on the
streams,
archive post was broken.
where there's
The
about
intent confirmed that
five
this was the
or
original Polaroid variant
20 people
versus the
there
assumed red variant, but
and
it's also
barely
easy to
any
scrap.
communication is
I
happening,
did, however, write down the thread I
conversation is
used for this
happening,
particular
I would
post,
say
which was
stuff a lot more often.
122760 Founding
my
Fathers.
my
Messaging
not so
support
social
that
self is
archive.mo
my
also noted that
antisocial
Dr.
self is
Mocker was a
saying,
member,
you know,
despite knowing it was unlikely.
stuff to keep the
Since 4chan
conversation
didn't officially
going
archive
because
those posts,
I do not want it to get awkward.
However, no results
So it's
have been
something like that.
found in the databases. At this point, my only option was to break this game Polaroid into four conceptual layers to identify the base assets the anonymous poster like. This was a more practical approach than really trying to find the Polaroid's original post.
Um, yeah, it is
Four layers
basically stuff like
in
that.
the background
It all
and
depends on the
to the fore.
scenario.
The second layer was
For me, it
largely
all depends
text,
on the scenario.
likely
If
problem with
the
that corporate
conversation is
software.
already active, then
The
you
third
know
layer featured warp
I would not
layers,
really say much. I would not really say much at all.
image,
You
and
know,
then the fourth and final layer was the vector
because there is
image.
already a conversation going and the
Upon
person is
closer
already having stuff
inspection,
to talk
the
about.
hand appeared to
However, if the
suspend the
conversation is not
image
really active,
with
I
one
would,
using the red
I would say
variants.
some stuff and
While it was
to try
difficult
and
to
keep
make out the
things
full
interesting.
hand
Not,
due
maybe not
to
all
the
the time.
visual
However,
weakness,
every
it
now and
seems
then.
to be reaching towards the rescue
Whenever I
rather than making a gesture
do
like you
streams on
would in
stuff,
Smile.jpg.
um,
I ran each of these assets through multiple
I
virtual search
notice,
engines.
I
However, every
notice
result
that
ultimately led back to the Polaroid itself, no matter how much
depending on the
attention I
stream,
took
barely
to the
anybody is
fragments,
speaking,
such as a husky head or a
or
single sheep,
I'll have a lot of
I wasn't able to
lurkers,
trace them back to any
and I
identifiable
feel like
solid
this
source
is
images.
more of a wake up call to me that either I do, either I
The
stream
most likely
at
explanation
inconvenient
began
times
on
and
creating a
or
Polaroid
people
may
are
be
busy,
the
and
rusty
I
image
am not
featuring
denying the
synthetic
fact that people are
segregation,
busy.
a common image manipulation
No,
practice
I'm
in
not
digital
denying the
art.
fact that people are busy. I am absolutely not denying the fact that people are
While
busy.
this
I
was just a
understand that
subset,
people are busy.
the extreme
I can be
version of
busy, and
this
I don't,
was the creator
and I'm
intentionally
unemployed.
overexposed in an attempt to keep the source
However, yes,
images
even I can get
anonymous.
busy.
This
I
practice
can get
led
busy, and
after much
I understand
research
that. I
and
understand that
effort.
people can get
Our
busy.
attempts to trace the individual source
I'm
assets
not,
was extremely
trying
difficult
to
and
guilt trip
virtually
people into
impossible.
watching, and I'm not
Having
trying to
taken
force
across a similar
people
technique in a
into,
comic book by
watching
Spade
almost
and Fix
every
in
single thing
2006
that I
on
do.
July 3rd, 2010. Spade, who identified himself as a Photoshop expert, examined the Polaroid
Um,
image
no,
and
no,
initially
every single thing that
focused
I,
on
make or something.
PO initials were
I'm
added
not
using a
trying to guilt
translucent
trip people into
brush.
doing that at all.
Two,
That's not what I
creator
do.
made deliberate efforts
Um,
to obscure
I'm
fine
basically,
details.
saying
Even so,
I
Spade was
realize
also
the
unable
activity
to
difference
identify the
is
base
all. I
images.
basically realize the activity difference.
All I was left with were my own
Um,
speculations. Spade
Sometimes
was
I
famous
want to
for using
stream
the
and,
beforehand
not
as the
draw.
answer.
Sometimes I want to stream and
However, when the
draw.
image looked broken,
And the
I began
difference is
to
pretty
confirm
noticeable.
that
There was
this
this one time I was
was the
actually,
original Polaroid
and I
variant
and I
of
feel
the
like
Smile.jpg.
this is mostly because of the time I streamed it at.
The Polaroid variants being
I
previous
think a
to hours
grand
after the
majority of
initial
it
post would explain why most of the
because of the
viewers of
time
the
I
Polaroid
streamed this
variants
at.
were
I only
selling
streamed
exclusively
Baldi's Basics
and why they are often
at
interchanged
about
with Polaroid
11 to 12 a.m. and I was
versions
wondering
reversed.
why not that many people are
That said,
here.
without proof,
Of
my
course, not that many
assumptions
people
are
are there. I
entirely
streamed
different
at
from
12.
many theories circulating on the internet
Not
today.
that many people are always going to be awake at 12. Not everybody's a night owl like me. And
In
sometimes
addition to
people have
this,
work,
however, I began
obviously.
looking into the origins of the red
Um,
variants.
I could stream at
I already knew it was posted on January 7th,
4 to 5
2009,
p.m.
at exactly
and
9:34
it could be a
p.m.
gameplay stream and
So
barely
it was
anybody
less than
would
9
join
hours
still.
later because of the
And then
missing
whenever
date.
I make
But as I
a
dug
drawing
deeper,
stream, suddenly a lot
I
of
realized
people
the
are
question
coming
should
in,
ask
and
was, where did these
if
variants come
if
from?
if a drawing stream is what they came
The
for,
original
sure.
Smile.jpg was essentially a Frankenstein image that meshed several
A lot of
source images
people here
together.
are also
In addition,
likely
some
reason
good
that,
Photoshop
hey, he's
editing
talking, let me stay silent. Exactly.
The identification
Yeah, I do the
of
same with
this
friends,
image
depending on
is still an ongoing process.
depending on how
Not
much back
all
and
of them
forth
have
there
been recovered.
is in a conversation. I
The
wait
first
until there's enough
assets to be
silence for me
found
to
on
say
the
my piece.
original
Exactly.
Smile.jpg
Exactly.
earnings in the picture's background. The source image was revealed to be the cover art for a 2008 EP titled Sitting Alone in a Dark Empty Room. The EP
It's
was released by a band
it's
called Gabriel
it's giving off a
and can be found
feeling
on this website.
that says it's giving off a
The
feeling that
EP was
says,
released
all
on the
right,
1st of January
i-
2008,
this is
about
an
a year
active
before the
thing.
original
It's like
Smile.jpg
walking into a
was released
party.
on 4chan. The
Just
next
sit and
source
listen.
image was
So
contained
some may
in
just lurk.
the
Yeah, I know.
original
Again, I'm
Smile.jpg
not blaming anybody for
released
lurking.
in
I'm
the
not
next January
blaming that. I'm
2010
saying that,
source.
I wish there was a little
On a
bit
now archived
of
4chan
more
thread,
activity
there were
because
several
for me, it
conversations
can get a
about these
little
assets
awkward at
and what the
times.
EP
It
was
can get a little
intended to
awkward
be.
at times.
And on August 1st,
Um,
2013,
Other people
a
may
fan
not mind
posted
it,
this comment.
and I may not mind it
My
for the
thoughts
most
were
part.
very
However, at
alike.
some point, it
You will already
may
know the
get a
smile
little
dog
awkward
is
for me.
dog. I can
Um,
post the same image used for
so
EP too. The anonymous comment was
basically,
then followed by this image with another comment
I
from
could
the same used in the picture.
I could compare this to a scenario where it's like a party.
It was here
It's like a
at
party.
Courthouse
So
that the team belonged to
depending on how
became
lively the
connected.
party is, you know,
Imagine vlogging your
everybody's
morning
already
routine.
talking to each other, so you do not really feel the need to
Stephanie's vlog
socialize.
was
If
last
the party
aired on
dies
March
down,
12th,
you know, now
2012.
that many people are
It was
talking, I
probably
feel like
aimed
that's
self the
when
stage
you
much
are.
earlier, probably back in the mid 2000s or early 2009, but I wasn't able to confirm this.
That's when you are a
It
little bit
also
more
wasn't
comfortable
confirmed that
to
the
say
image
your
we now
piece,
posted
you know,
was the original assets, due to
something
several
like that.
irregularities when comparing the
Wow,
image
thank
to
you.
the original
It's
Smile.jpg.
wolves. If that was a good wow.
However, I did come across a much older image of Stephanie's teeth on her blog. I felt like a much better candidate. This image was taken before Stephanie's braces went on, and according to her blog, she got her braces on January 22nd, 2008. This confirms the image existed long before the original Smile.jpg, and its similarities make it a much better candidate for the source image. I'm assuming again that the analyst probably got these two images mixed up, since they were both from the same blog.
Um, I, I
The
was trying
image
to think of
Stephanie
something
used
else to
was more
say.
widely believed to be the source image in the early
So
2010s, but as the search for the base images continued,
yeah,
several
it's
witnesses
something like that.
pointed to
Either
this
way,
swap image. It dates to August
and
8th,
by the way, whenever I say
2016,
that
and was
I'm going to
posted on
attempt to
an
do
unnamed
something,
website called
do not take it as a
birth1000.com, which
promise
hosted
because I
Photoshop
feel
contests,
like,
digital
you know,
art.
that may
This
cause
famous
some
document
issues if you take
has
it
been
as a
used
promise.
almost
It's
everywhere,
more
and
so,
while I was only able to trace the photo back to
it's best
2012,
to take it as
I assume the
consideration.
origins
Take
were
it
somewhere
as
earlier, possibly dating back to 2007.
as a consideration
Then there was
because
also this third
I
potential
said
source
that I
image.
may focus on my
While
other
this appeared to be a
accounts
strong candidate,
a little bit
and some
more,
claims that it
you know,
was the
get
most
them a
likely
little
source
bit
image,
active.
I wasn't fully
While at the
convinced.
same
I
time,
could understand why many people believe the
while at the same
creators used
time,
an identity
they're
for this
barely active
particular
as well.
image. However, I believe the events happened in
I don't
short
know.
order, as the
Because
creators
this account has
continued
been
to
stagnant
post
for a
pieces
long
from
while.
the original
This account has
Smile.jpg.
been really stagnant for a long
Essentially, the
while.
trace from
And
August
whenever my
12th
account
to
gets
last November
stagnant, it
3rd,
gets really
I then used the
demotivating.
times
It
first
gets
image search
incredibly
to pinpoint the
demotivating
oldest post, and the
because
results led to the artist's
I could
account
try a
itself being
gaming
front
stream, I
page.
could try a reaction stream, I
The
could try
image
a drawing
titled
stream, I
Ghost
could
Stephanie
try to
became trending
upload,
and was first posted on
and
July
I would
14th,
still
2012,
be
roughly
stagnant.
3.5 years
I
after
would
the
still be
original
pretty
Smile.jpg
stagnant.
had been posted. At the end, I was left with
No,
Stephanie,
nothing
a
really
neat yet
changes.
most prominent
The
image,
most that
with a
change
visually
is that I will
striking
gain two
image.
subscribers
But even then,
and
the
one would
bright side
leave and or
compares
two
to
would
dim side
leave and then I'm
overlaying
back at
over
square
the
one.
original
Do you know what
Smile.jpg,
where I'm coming from?
and neither of them
You
was
know where I'm
fully
coming from?
finished.
The
I'm
most
not
I will
saying
get
Stephanie
is
aren't the source assets,
two more
but I was due
subscribers
to the creator's distortion
and
and
then
manipulation.
two
It's
leave
difficult
shortly
to
after,
understand which of the two was the
so
actual source
the extra
image.
subscribers meant nothing.
And the third and most important source asset was the dog.
I'm not saying that
Since the
you know
original
the
posting
people
first
mean
hit
nothing. I'm not
2,009,
saying that at all. I'm saying
hundreds,
that, you
if
know,
not thousands, of attempts
um
have been made to find the
quantity
source of
wise is
the
like the two extra
original
subscribers meant
Smile.jpg.
nothing.
A couple of anons on 4chan thought they solved the mystery in the early 2010s, as back then, the general consensus was that this
Then
unique
again, that
image
sounds pretty
was
rude, I
the
would
source
assume.
recipe. This
Um,
funny dog meme has been online forever,
I would say,
and I was able to
well,
trace
then
the
again,
earliest
how
known
else is there to
post
put
to
that?
a random thread on February 5th, 2008,
Because no,
which proved it
I
did
would not say
exist in the original
meaningless because that
Smile.jpg.
is way. I would say
However,
that
there
it
were
meant
still some
nothing
doubts and some people were
quantity wise.
confused.
You know,
Another popular theory back then was that the source
I
ID was
would say
taken from another
quantity
group of
wise.
skeptical
You
dog
know, the
geeks
two
circulating the
subscribers
web at
meant
the time.
nothing
This
if
group
I
of
took
geeks
two
would not be
steps
said to be
forward
the
and two
source
steps
back in
back.
2009,
I'm back at
but this
square
theory was
one.
debunked after people found out that this image
I saw this happen
actually posted in
recently. To be honest, I
November
saw this happen
2009.
recently. I was
The mystery of the source recipe remained unsolved for years until February 8th,
I
2022,
was
when Reddit user Not Hurting Anyone
witnessing
5678
me
shared a
actually
post about
reaching
r/creepypasta.
4.9 thousand subscribers, and I treated it
It
as a
not only proved
milestone.
that
I
the
was
image
thinking,
wasn't
oh
Smile,
wow, I'm
the
almost to
artist and face on it
5k.
looked exactly the same.
I'm almost to 5,000,
I
right?
also want to note
I was
that a
excited.
similar
I was
post
excited. I
confirmed
was
this
thinking,
image as the
all
source
right, you know,
had
more and
already
more
been shared
people
several times online
are finding
before
me out.
2022. However, the
And
Reddit post
then
shared by Not Hurting Anyone 5678 is the most prominent post to cite,
and then
and more broadly identified as confirmed, at least
immediately
to my knowledge.
after, no, not immediately, probably.
Exactly if the initial reveal
After
is still
that,
unknown,
I did not really
because the
check the
origin of the
quantity for a
source of the
while.
image
And I think this was a
seems like
few
it
hours
remains
later or the
unknown.
next day. I checked
So I
back and I was
decided to
two
write the
subscribers
post
back.
as the major
I
reveal,
was two
rather
subscribers
than the
forward
animation
and
photo
I
I
had two
uploaded earlier.
subscribers back.
Several comparisons and overlays
And then
Michael
I was
never found
thinking,
out
ah,
that
all
his
right.
ability to source huskies was the
Well,
original
I guess I
Smaug
have to work for it again.
This popular meme image
And
was often shared
I'm
across
back
social
at,
forums, unfortunately.
you know,
Around the same time the Smile Dog creepypasta was posted,
4.9
the
again.
photo of the Siberian Husky, it also became a
And I
continuous
am
meme
honestly
in 2008,
expecting it to
with the
lower
longest surviving
yet
upload
again.
being a post on X
I'm honestly
from
expecting it to lower
2009.
yet again.
However, the remaining source
Nice design,
evidence,
thank you.
the beckoning hand, and Smile Dog's body, are still unknown. One of the more prominent theories is that Smile Dog's
Um,
torso was heavily
and
placed
there
over
were
the third
times where I
Dumbledore
felt so
stool
demotivated
during
that I
the low
felt
velocity
like
pressure relays, as this was probably an
deleting
attempt
this
to
account,
mask the
which is,
source image. Aside
obviously
from
that happened a
identifying
million
the hand
times. However,
profile
I
by
do not
isolating the
care.
source and running the image through reverse image search also proved futile.
um,
As the source got
so
drifted
I
to the
thought about
internet,
deleting this
it was one
account
theory
because of
that
how
was probably the
demotivated I
creator's
was.
own hand.
And then,
Therefore,
I
believing
that's when I
Michael
made that
saw
community
two
post where I
souls
said,
is the same person
I
who
feel like
created
I
the soul.
might not be active anymore. Notice how I said might because not even I was sure. I said I might. I'm giving
During the
I'm
years
giving
following the
some
initial
room for
4chan post,
uncertainty. I'm not
Smile
being
Dog was trusted
100%
and the
certain. I'm
original
giving
Smile
room
Dog
for
data were
uncertainty.
credited to an anonymous person. However, 10 years later, the creator, a man named
Um
Michael J. Lutz,
although,
posted this tweet
I had a
on
lot of
October 22nd,
although I had a lot of
2019.
people, come up
Since
to the
about the
post and
Smile Dog
say,
moments,
"Hey, what's
it's been
wrong?
said
Are
that
you all
Mark
right?
Cho
Is everything
is
all right?"
similarly looking to ask
And
why
those
the
people
tweet
seem to
was.
be, concerned and everything. I did not mean to
Michael
concern
explained
people.
how he was
I did
reading
not
a
mean to
lot of
concern
creepypastas
people
on 4chan's
because
X-Fork
I tried
regarding the
to
original
voice
Smile
it
Dog story, and how it had
in the
occurred to
most
him that
neutral
the
tone
Smile Dog
possible. I did not
idea
mean to
was working
try
in that
and
format.
concern people. Although
Do
if I
you read
did,
enough
I do
stories to reverse
apologize.
engineer the genre? Which is why the Smile Dog
However,
story began
there
as
was
an
also
attempt
this
to
one
share the
person.
bizarre tale of the first
Excuse me. There was this
iteration of
one
Mission
person,
Coast.
and of course, what do I
Michael
expect
also
from
revealed that the main
my old
character in the original
community?
story, who was
I
only
do hope that
referred to
they
as
improve.
J,
However,
was
at the
supposed to
same
be a
time, what
character
do I
named
expect
after
from my old
himself,
community at this point?
J. Michael
There was
Lutz.
this one person who
Michael then
came up
confirmed in
and then they
following
said,
tweets that the
I would
writer
say I feel bad
of
for
the
you.
original Smile
However,
Dog
I
data,
witnessed this
who
happen,
declared it was
four
one
times
of the
already. And then I
Polaroid
said,
variants, was simply a remake. Even after Michaal's tweets,
all
a lot
right.
of
I
people
said to
remained
myself,
skeptical,
all
as it
right.
wasn't the first time someone had falsely claimed the
All
rights
right, you
to
witnessed it
Smile Dog's
happen.
image.
All right, and
However, Michael had pretty solid proof that he was indeed the original creator.
and it got me thinking. It got me
Correspondingly, before
thinking
people like
how
KUTV
how much of a
Michael
great idea it was
saw
for me to
Smile Dog
distance
data that
myself from my
debuted
old
after the
community
4chan
because
post in 2009, the
because
official birth of the
you
story
have to think
actually
about
happened a
this.
few months earlier on
If a
September
person is willing
2008.
to stop feeling bad for
Michael
you,
was
and
still at Brilliant
I'm
Publishing
not asking people to feel
India
bad for me at
when he
all.
first posted the original
However,
story
if a
on his
person
original
is
webpage.
willing
He
to
also
put
linked the story to his
sympathy
personal Facebook
away for
as
you
he wanted to see if he could trick any of his friends.
just because
Michael's student
you
page,
deactivate
where the
your
Smile Dog image
accounts,
was shared, was hosted by his college in 2008.
don't you think
Although
that
the photo has
is
since been wiped, Michael still maintains
strange?
a
Don't you
photo
think
of
you
the
were
original
actually,
post that
you know,
predates both the public release of
glad
Smile.jpg and the original
that
4chan post.
you do not associate
That
yourself with that
said,
community
there are
anymore?
still some people out there who argue that Michael's claims are false, as he says
Don't
the
you?
extra data
Won't you start
and
thinking
supposed
that it was a
original
great
Smile Dog
idea that you
image from
distanced
the
yourself?
2009 4chan post
Because me
seems to
personally,
suggest the data of this image
I would have
demonstrates
thought
that the file was
no,
created on
because
September
me
28,
personally, I thought
2002,
yeah,
or it was last modified on May
it's a
2008.
great idea that
It's
I
possible this is probably one of the Anon's attempts to
it's a
remove
great
the
idea that I
error
distance
by
myself from
altering the
that old
image exit
community.
data in an attempt to add to the Smile Dog lore.
And here's the
Once
thing:
again,
I can
this is not
understand where
speculation.
they
No
could
one really knows
where
which
they
image this
come from. I can
meta-analysis
understand where
came
they
from.
come from, while at the same
In
time I
speaking
do
with a
not.
thread between KTV and Michael,
I
he also
understand
confirmed
it could
that
be
he still has
frustrating to
all
watch
the
a
source
person
images
who you
to
have
read
watched
the
for a
original
while
Smile.jpg.
disappear and come back,
However, when
disappear,
asked
come
why he
back,
hadn't shared
disappear,
the
come
footage,
back.
Michael said he didn't want his
However, they
sources
also
to
need to
leak
understand
in
this.
case he ever ended
If
up
you
being
stopped
forced
caring
to put a
about them,
story or the
if
original
you
image.
stopped caring
He
about
went on
them,
to explain why he keeps these assets close,
why do you
stating that he knows certain
why do
individuals
you
in
stick
Hollywood are always looking to capitalize on seemingly authorless or free IP. Michael
why do
also
you
added
stick
that he
around
prefers Smile Dog to freely remove his
and
hand from
things are
creepypasta
going all
lore,
right,
which is why he's dragged the
things are
assets
going all
for
right
so
with the
long
person.
and
However, you
refuses to
stick
make them
around
white for this
and then eventually the person says, "Oh yeah,
However, a
I
review of that
might not be
husky
around
image
anymore,"
have already been found. And
and
even once they confirm the meme husky image as a
I might
similar
not be
husky,
active
the
anymore,
original Smile Dog J-Peg won't.
and then the person says,
Unfortunately, he may remove the
mm,
original source
yeah,
message
oh,
of the Smile Dog
strangely
JPEG
enough,
in a
that's the
tool
only time the
that
person
says
speaks.
he
Correct?
created
That's
it.
the only time the person
Sometimes,
speaks,
and
and then
you,
they say, and then they say, mm, "Well, I would feel bad for you if I did not witness this happen multiple times." And it got me thinking. It got me thinking. All right, what do you want to? What do you want, a cookie or something? Do you want a
that's
cookie for expecting a post like
allows
this
a
or
more
something?
one-dimensional story and a creepy image that was
Because it's
spread by
weird.
smaller
Why would
streams.
you?
I don't think it had millions of people who saw it. It used to be a very
It's
common
weird
sight for
because
creepypastas
why would
back then.
you
This is a
wait for
powerful
that
image of
one
how more warning
specific
the
post to
story
finally
was
say
revealed.
something?
And still yet
It
today,
doesn't really make any sense to
these were
me
the
at
same
all.
comments I came across
It
where
does not make
people
sense
shared just how terrifying Smile.jpg was back in the day.
because
Many
I would have
creators
been
even
less
reported
weirded
that
out
it
if
was
I
very
saw that that
dangerous.
person was
All of these
kind
accounts
of
are
active
fictional,
before.
and I want to know if anyone
I would have
watching
been
has
less
experienced
weirded
one of
out.
those. So it'd be great to hear about your
However,
personal
this
experiences
could
with
imply
yourself
that you
Smile Dog
have
JPEG.
waited
And for
around,
those who've never encountered
and
the
or
image
they could have
before
just found
and
me.
are
Who
just seeing
knows?
Smile Dog for the first time, don't forget,
However, that could have heavily implied that they waited around my account, said nothing. I waited for me to post something like that, and then they thought that I will give them the green light to say well, I expected something like this. Is pretty strange. Anyways, that's me rambling. That's me rambling. I do not want to give too much attention to that subject because I've said it so many times and I do not think it will end at any time point. Mm, at any time. So, you're the greatest songwriter, especially for a machine insect idea. Thank you. The effect on the software makes it look animated. It's cool. I say just remember that you can block them if you haven't already. There shouldn't be room for haters in your Minecraft channel. It's a great piece. The steam flows out of them really well. hmm I appreciate that. Clockwork Dancers. This character. I'm not gonna take full credit for this. This character is about this character is halfly, not halfly. That's not a word. This character is partially inspired by Second Sentinel. I'm not gonna take full credit for it. I would say the Steam idea and no, not the Steam idea. I would say the gear and the mechanical idea was inspired by Second Sentinel. The gear mechanical idea is inspired by Second Sentinel. Everything else is my mind running wild. I'm not gonna take full credit for it. I know Team Cherry inspired this idea. Wait, all this is on one layer? Yes, all this is on one layer. Yes, all this is on one layer. I do have experience with doing this.
So, you were just talking about how we can control the animatronics remotely. There we go, got rid of boxy goods. I hear a bit. There we go. I knew I heard that Benz. Alright guys, so, let's see how we get on tonight.
Color palette is great. I kind of want to mix cyberpunk and steampunk in our world eventually. All right.
Because he's in the basement of this location right now, guys. I think he's in the basement. Henry, surely it's fine to just check and see if we're William Afton or not. But yeah, this is what's going to cause the accident of Evan Afton. This is what's going to cause the bites. Because technically Evan is an Afton. So, yeah, it's crazy. I do like that. I do like that idea of Henry, like, knowing what happened and he's trying to kill William Afton for revenge, but you know what happens. It's a cool idea. It's a cool concept. Almost 3 a.m. as well. Got 1 more hour to go. Okay. I wonder what Threadbare's mechanics are going to be. Good. Okay, we can't use that one yet now. We'll wait for this one, which is fine. We're okay. We're okay. We are okay. You use this now on this one. Listen to the vents. Hi, buddy. The balloon boy is very, 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 very active, bro. So aggressive. But we're dealing with it well. I think we are anyway. Guys, what do you think the next chore is for us to do? Very good. Hey, balloon boy. The only problem I'm worried about is if Spring Bonnie and Balloon Boy appear at the same time. That's the problem I don't like dealing with, because that's what killed me the first time, remember? 3 a.m. We did it, guys. Nice! Okay! So the night shifts, we're getting nice. We're there anyway, because I feel like Threadbare is just going to have this crazy mechanic where it's going to ruin everything. Oh, fingers crossed. Okay. Continue shift. Yes. What are we doing?
There we go.
What is that, your stock supplies?
Before you go around punching anything, there's something you need to check. That closet in front of you, open it. But behind you is a door.
Yeah.
Go to the door. Grab the supplies from the box. It's probably going to be dark in the other room, so you use your flashlight to see. Once you're holding the item,
Anyways, that thing that I said earlier was all I wanted to talk about. Really, was all I wanted to talk about. Really, that's pretty much it. It is a simple thing that was on my mind.
Okay. You open the door and spring Bonnie's there. Just shine your flashlight right in his face. Don't stop until he backs off. Okay. Fred Bear's different. If he shows up in the room, turn off the closet. Don't move. Okay. Not with a single twitch. Got it? Alright, Joe. Chill. Let's stop the show.
Hey, if I could ever work for you to make art for a video game,
Put him on the left side of the second shelf.
could that happen? I don't have anything in mind, just whenever it's a possibility. As it stands, I do not know how to remotely work on, art for a game. I know how to work on art, however, I do not know how to, work on art for a game.
That's a lot of noise.
And what I mean by that is,
That's a lot of noise.
I do not know if I have to code in stuff. I don't know if I have to code in stuff and or, other stuff like that. Um,
Place the 6 paper towels
and as for
on the
assets,
side of the third shelf.
Me working on assets for the game is going to be a little bit of a tricky thing for me to learn as well. You take care of that. You just need to. Well, maybe it. We're gonna have to see what the future holds for that.
Pick it up, pick it up. This is terrifying, bro. Okay. Fredbear wants me dead, guys. Fredbear wants me dead. Right. Put the 6 tissue boxes on the right side of the same shelf. You'll have 2 extras. Those go on the right side of the top shelf. What?
I'll be back. Mm. Alright, I'm gonna end stream now. Mostly because I think I already said what I needed to say currently, and the art is done. So, yes, bye.
Right. That's terrifying. So,
Wait, I got 16 likes on this?